spooky. Oh,
yeah, you weren't expecting that, were you?
Yeah, no. You're like, what am I listening to? Yeah. You're listening to the Mike and Mo Too Spooky for radio. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a commercial for 4imprint or something, but no, we went right into it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
By the way, thank you to our sponsor, Salon Paws. I saw that was still a thing last night, and I was like, well, that's going to sponsor the podcast today.
Good. I'll take it.
It is the Mike and Molson Too Good for Radio podcast. Mike Wimmacher.
Johnny Molson, hello.
Yes, and it's our Halloween Spooktacular. we're going to talk about costumes and just share stories, and hopefully you enjoy it.
I bought so much candy last night, and I don't know why. Last year, I got, a decent 20 or so kids came by or something, and I still had candy sitting there for Christmas. But I'm sitting there picking it up going, well, gosh, what if it's not enough? What about maybe one more bag, just in case. I've got more than
Isn't that always the worst?
No, it's not, because I'll eat it. It's fine.
But it's always like you try to do the math in your head, and for me and my wife, we enjoy. It's like some people are, killjoys, just turn the light off. We love it, right? And so we'll buy and I mentioned this before when we were back actually on the radio, of like the innumerable amount of different variety of candies that we have and let the kids choose. And it always I'll have 700 pieces of candy, and I'll be like, is this going to be enough? It's like, what do you mean, is this going to be enough? Like, even if every kid gets 4, that's still 280 kids coming to my house.
Because I'm just like, hey, grab a handful. I don't care. Give what you want.
I will say, hey, we'll say grab a couple. And you have to factor in, there's going to be those kids who just, it's like, I'm not going to slap their hand or be like, oh, I only said 2. It's like, they're kids and it's candy. Just let it go.
Candy, it's free.
Yes. So
how can you stop them?
You have a list. We like to do this because I don't know when it happened, because I don't remember it when I was in high school, and I actually even don't remember it when I was in college. But at a certain point, Halloween started becoming a more adult-oriented holiday as well.
Yeah.
And everything became more sexy for costumes.
And isn't that kind of a drag? You kind of just want to leave it for the kids. Go have fun. Just knock it off. At some point, you got to...
I think on pre-Halloween, I think it's okay for adults. But on Halloween night, it's all about the kids.
So the game is, how can you find the sexiest version of something out there? I think a few years ago, there was a sexy Bert and Ernie, which was always very weird.
Which is weird.
This year, we've got a sexy white bunny costume for men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't want to know how that becomes sexy.
Well, it's like these terry cloth short shorts and a midriff crop top that has ears.
Okay. And then it comes with Nugenics as well.
Yeah.
And she'll like it too.
Here's the baked chef costume. It's a chef's costume. It's a sexy chef's costume, but it's got marijuana on it. So it's the
baked chef.
I like this one. Here's a girl dressed as a sexy pencil. You know how often you fantasized about your pencil.
Take out your number 2. Sharpen this.
We've got the sexy Girl Scout costume probably should not be allowed.
No, that's the weird thing too. Like sexy Elmo is another one. Like, if you're out and about, and granted, I've been out of the game for a very long time, but you're out and about. If you're wearing 2 things, if you're wearing sexy Elmo, who are you trying to attract?
Right.
And 2. Who goes, man, sexy Elmo there looks really good.
Yeah, and
I mean, everybody's got their kink, I guess, but sexy Elmo is just, it seems, no.
Yeah, but here I am as a grown man, and I see someone dressed up as a sexy Girl Scout. And I mean, there's that's a setup, right? That's a trap.
That is a trap, exactly.
That's entrapment. That's what that is.
That is, yeah. You got some Thin Mints for me? Give me those tag-alongs.
For the ladies, though, you can get the Sergeant Short Pants cop costume.
That's just a terrible name.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the Reno 911 get up.
Okay.
And / porn actor sort of a thing. Here's a character that I never thought would or could be sexy, and this is for the ladies out there, a sexy Sherlock Holmes costume.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Complete with the hat and the...
Did they just wear the magnifying glass on a nipple or something to make it that way?
No, I mean it's just sort of this one piece looking thing, but they've got the hat with the flaps on it that he always wore and sort of a checkered cape and
you know what, I salute someone who chooses sexy Sherlock Holmes, because the individual you would hope the individual that were to hit on you would be that would know of the literary legend that is Sherlock Holmes. So you're not getting the run-of-the-mill, like, bro. You need someone who knows who Sherlock Holmes is.
This one's on the list of being sexy, but I don't see anything particularly sexy about it. It actually is a pretty dead-on costume of dressing up like the Pope.
Oh, okay.
I don't see anything here. There's no
sexy Pope?
There's no sexy
No
Pope.
sexy Pope.
Here's a sexy women's plumber outfit.
Okay.
See, here's another one. Sexy cheerleader, and it says daddy across the front.
Oh, no. There's one thing to have sexy cheerleader. That seems like a setup as well, the sexy cheerleader. But you're going to make it that much weirder with the daddy across the front?
And then there is, and finally, the number one position is, it's just called the sexy nightmare costume, but it's essentially...
Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, it's Freddy Krueger's face in a big one-piece leotard, with all the weird red and blood and sores and things. But as a one-piece leotard, and you got the hand with the
That almost looks like what was that guy's name? Goodbody?
Oh,
back in the
Dr.
day?
Goodbody or Mr. Goodbody?
Yeah,
that's exactly what that looks like.
That looks like that. That's not sexy at all.
So we've run out of things to be sexy for Halloween.
Yeah.
So.
We jumped the shark when it was sexy Bert and Ernie and sexy Elmo.
It was.
Do you have any fond memories of a best costume when you were a child? Like best worst costume?
Best worst?
Best costume and worst costume. Like, do you have any memories when you were growing up?
Yeah. There was one year when I was a little kid, I got it into my head that I wanted to be the Pillsbury Doughboy, and I got to hand it to my mom. She made it happen.
Wow.
She was a seamstress, and she knew how to sew and do this sort of thing, and she made the whole thing by hand, and it was perfect.
Nice.
So that's always on the list of things that made me happy. There was a series of years when I went as various Marx Brothers.
Oh, very okay.
You can get away with Harpo, you can get away with Groucho. The year that I went as Chico, though, I think kind of threw everybody that didn't know what it. I just walked around talking Italian. Nobody knew what I was doing.
Look at this kid with a hat trying to be an adult.
Are you from the Depression? What are you?
I have most worse. Basically, I had one or two bests growing up, but a majority of mine, you could tell that, God bless my mom, it was just kind of thrown together. Yeah. I've shared the story numerous times of the effeminate Indiana Jones. I wanted to be Indiana Jones one year, and I ended up with my mom's fedora, an old purse as my satchel, and my dad took one look at what I was at and said, "At least give him a play gun as a side piece because this is pretty awful right now." So that was pretty bad. The year I wanted to be a Ninja Turtle, I was like, buy me a mask, let's do this, let's go all out. Instead, my mom's like, well, you have a green backpack, that could be your shell, which looks nothing like a shell. You got your Letterman jacket from junior high is also green, so we'll do that. Then she smeared on some green face paint, and the coup de grace of this whole thing was the fact that I wanted to be Michelangelo, so I wanted an orange bandana. How hard could it have been to find an orange bandana? Instead, my mom goes through something she had growing up to put her hair up. Like it had elastic, and it was like basically a headband with elastic in it that was like burgundy colored. So there's no Ninja Turtle that was burgundy colored. And then she goes ahead and goes, well, I'll just cut a hole in this because she hadn't used it in years. So she she goes, here, put it on. And then she marks with a marker where my eyes would be underneath, cuts it, doesn't burn any of the strands. So I had the entire night first of all, people looked at me like, I don't know what is going on with this kid. He looks like he's doing green face. I'm not quite sure who he's offending, but he's offending someone's sensibilities. And I had these little strings from where she cut in my eyes the entire time, so it looked like I was crying the entire time. It was the absolute worst.
I'm just looking here to see, usually there's a good zombie version of a recently deceased celebrity.
Yeah.
Are you expecting any zombie Coolios or zombie Judy Tenutas?
I hope if there's a zombie Judy Tenuta and you come to my house, whether you're an adult or I would doubt to be a child, I will give you all the candy in the world.
Heck yeah.
The other worst one that I had too growing up was I decided to be a werewolf, and for some reason, and I don't know why to this day. I don't know what. The makeup was fine, and I messed up my hair and everything else. The makeup was fine, but I decided that a trench coat was also going to be an important part.
Right.
So I look like basically a werewolf flasher.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I don't know if I got a ton of candy that year because people are afraid that I may expose myself or what it was, but also was not the greatest costume for me growing up. Did it get better? Do you dress up as an adult? Have you dressed up?
I haven't in a long time. I really do just get paralysis where I go, there's nothing I can think of that's so awesome that I'm going to go out and dressed up like this.
Now, I haven't gone out to a party.
Unless I might do zombie Judy Tenuta. Maybe I'll do that.
I want to see you as zombie Judy Tenuta.
Just go sit down at Floyd's downtown or something.
No, just sit outside and play the accordion and make fun of people and see if you can make some money on the side.
I'll give you $100 if you can guess who I am right now.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Who am I? We dress up to give out candy at our house, and we go to Disney and go to their kind of Halloween party. So we've done, and my wife is amazing when it comes to our costumes. Always steps it up. Like Woody and Bo Peep one year, we did the rescue. So I have a litany of costumes, but I think But that's just a couple costume, right? I think if you're going out as a single, you're right. Paralysis can take over because you want to be something cool, you want to be something hip, but it's like you start thinking, you're like, I don't know.
Right, and there's not going to, something where there's not going to be 5 other, there's going to be 12 different Tony Starks showing up or something like that, right?
Do you think there's going to be a bunch of Eddie Munsons from Stranger Things?
Probably.
Like, I thought about that.
That'd be pretty cool.
Like, in July, Eddie Munson was everything. Yeah. Does the power of Eddie Munson last until December, until October 31st?
Zombie Judy Tenuta, that's for damn sure.
No, that would be that. You know what? We can end the podcast right now because nothing you talk about is going to be as good as Zombie Judy Tenuta. So let me ask you this then: as a child, when you went trick or treating, did you go with a group of friends?
Mm-hmm. The year I was Harpo Marx, I was a pain in the ass because I wouldn't talk to anybody.
Oh, really? You committed to the bit?
I did the whole thing, and it was absolutely
even when you would go to the doors?
Nothing.
Would you just go?
Yeah.
That was your trick or treat.
And I said, it's like as soon as the costume's on, until I get back and take the costume off, I'm Harpo Marx. I went full method on this thing.
Wow, that is commitment.
Yeah, no, that wasn't commitment. It was a jerk. I was a stupid jerk kid.
Did you get a lot of candy that year or less candy?
I did fine. Harpo Marx, it's hard to...
Was there any particular candy when you would dump it out where you would be pissed that you got?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's inevitable. Or at least it would stay at the bottom until the very, very last when you got nothing else going on.
Yeah.
Anything taffy-like, anything that was hard, anything that was, the bit of honey.
I would always get so pissed if I saw Good and Plenty in there. Like you could see the person.
I'm a licorice fan, so I'm okay.
See, as a kid, I was not. I was just like, and I even like Smarties were fine. Mm-hmm. They understood.
I like Smarties.
But the thing that pissed me off more than anything else was the people that handed out like freaking erasers. Like the people that didn't hand out candy. I'd be like, what are you doing?
Popcorn balls is completely ridiculous.
And the homemade ones at that. Mm-hmm. Like, that doesn't fly anymore. Like, if someone goes to a house in 2022 and some old lady has just wrapped up a popcorn ball in saran wrap and drops in your kid's thing, that goes in the garbage immediately, right?
It does. It does, and it's funny because ABC just interviewed a guy who has studied this thing decade upon decade as to, slipping razor blades in candy or poisoning things or something. And he said, I cannot find one instance ever where that has happened. And there's talk now about, because
the rainbow fentanyl looks like Smarties.
Looks like Smarties. And he said it's never happened. And it's like, when you think about it, okay, so you've got this maniacal killer who is setting out to kill kids, but he only does it on one night. Yeah, he's going to hold back just for that. And
he's going to take cut of his profits just to kill your child.
He said the only time he ever found it was when a dad wanted to kill his own son.
Oh God!
And the reason the guy got caught was because no other kid on the street got sick. It was like, oh well, it's got to be this guy.
That's yeah.
So the whole thing. But that all that being said, yeah, I'm not eating your stupid popcorn balls.
No, I have no use for your popcorn balls. I have no use for
a
good
box of raisins. You lunatic.
Oh yeah, that was also awful
matter
too.
With you.
Yeah, that deserves an egging, right? I think that you shouldn't go out and vandalize, but if someone gives you raisins, that is carte blanche to egg the hell out of that house.
Yeah, and you know what? I respect all religions, but don't be dropping prayer cards or booklets.
So let me ask. So I had a situation growing up, and we had a couple of friends, Jake and Josh, whose parents did that. Right? They handed out the prayer cards.
Gosh.
But we felt obligated, even though we knew it was going to be crap. We felt obligated because they're our friends that we would have to go to their house, and so every year it'd be like fudge.
Yeah.
Like here comes these stupid. Thoughts on people who scare the trick-or-treaters?
Man.
What is your take on that? The people who like sit there in the scarecrow costume and blah! Or we had one family that what they would do was they took the screen door, like they had a door and then had like a screen window on the screen door. They would took out the screen door, it'd be pitch black, and you'd ring the doorbell and they'd pop up.
It's hilarious, but be discerning. If you make a kid cry, you suck.
True. You got to know your audience.
Yeah, it can be very, very funny, but at the same time, if it's like a 5-year-old little girl in a princess costume and you make her wet her pants, for God's sakes, it's like, this isn't funny anymore.
Yeah, you're not going to be on a YouTube sensation.
No.
So know your audience. It's a little bit easier now, I think, with the Ring doorbell technology. You can kind of tell what's going on. And even you can kind of hear the kids milling around, so you can kind of look out to make sure. To your point, yes, you can do it, but don't overkill it.
Yeah, agreed.
The best trick-or-treating story I had was the final year that I was allowed to go trick-or-treating, right? I was taking out my sister. I'm like, hey, this is my final year. I'm getting as much freaking candy as I can. So like we can't
I've got to stock up for the rest of my life.
Exactly. We canvassed as if I was ever going to be an adult buying candy to hand out. Like I just thought, oh, that's not something an adult buys. So we went to neighborhoods that we have never visited before, right? And they had just built on in our neighborhood these bigger houses, and I'm like, sweet. I thought in my mind, bigger houses, better candy. We pull up to this house, ring the doorbell, because I'm like, oh, this one's going to be fan-freaking-tastic. And as we were walking up, and right after my sister rang the doorbell, because she was younger and I was a little bit older, I'm like, put the younger kid up first. As she's ringing the doorbell, I look inside, and they are sitting on the ground in like some type of nouveau, like crystal, like prayer, weird, like hippie circle. And after she hit the doorbell and I saw that, I was like, oh no, what have I done? And sure enough, it was like some type of weird herbal remedy, like hard candies that they gave. They gave us like 3 handfuls of. They're like, oh, aren't you? Like, just like, I'm like, is this a cult? Like, what? I'm like, what did I stumble upon here?
Lord.
So we got home, and I immediately, even before my parents could, I immediately grabbed that and threw it in the trash. And my mom's like, what was that all about? I'm like, you don't want to know, Mom.
Yeah.
We went a little too far. The herbal candy, I'm just not having any of it. I'm doing your job tonight, Mom.
Got a bag of psychedelics.
Yeah, exactly. It was just bizarre.
That's intense.
Yeah, I was like, no, thank you. It is the Mike and Molson Too Good for Radio Halloween Spooktacular. Carving pumpkins. Was that a favorite of yours growing up? And how elaborate did you get your designs?
Yeah, carving pumpkins taught me that not everything can go in the garbage disposal.
No. Oh, no. Yeah, no, that the pumpkin guts don't go in a garbage disposal. They go in the garbage.
Particularly, not all the pumpkin guts at the exact same time forever. I had a bunch of friends over. Not a bunch of friends. I don't know. It was like 2 or 3 of us, and we were doing some sort of pumpkin carving thing, and my mom and her friends were out at a restaurant. And so I just, everything went into the garbage disposal. And I just, and within moments, one of the pipes in the basement burst.
Oh, good Lord.
Because I'm just like, come on, grind, you son of a bitch, go!
Keep going. Keep just turn it on more.
It's like it's a wood chipper, and I'm just shoving things down there like a maniac. And I mean, it just, the pipe opened up and pumpkin innards came raining down all over the basement. So, that's how I learned about plumbing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, for us, it was interesting because it's amazing how far pumpkin carving has come, right? Like as a kid, it was like freehand. You just draw a couple triangle eyes and a goofus tooth and you're good to go. And now it's like people go online, find all these stencils and they and then they carve all, and you're like, good Lord, that's a masterpiece. Like that should be in a museum. Like I've gotten to the point where I will test myself at times to see how elaborate I can get, and not real elaborate. I still fall back. I mean, I'll stencil like Jack Skellington's face, but anything that's like a landscape, it's like, no, that's just too much work for me.
And it's going to get eaten by a squirrel or a raccoon in the middle of the night anyway.
Right, exactly. It's not worth the effort. I mean, it looks cool. My wife does like Mickey Mouse, and she actually bought smaller pumpkins like tether in for the ears and everything else. So that's something that she enjoys doing. But for me, it's like, I still like the basics when it comes to pumpkin carving. But I still, to this day, still get a little weirded out by the pumpkin guts. Like when I reaching in there, reaching hand, you're just like, what am I actually feeling here?
Yeah, I know. That's why I threw it down the garbage disposal. It was disgusting. Get this out of here. Grind, you son of a bitch.
Grind. Zombie Judy Tenuta commands you to grind.
Hey, speaking of crazy killers and zombies and things, check out this woman in Sydney who I guess axed her boyfriend to death. Her ex-boyfriend. She axed her ex.
With axe body spray?
With
or
an
like
actual
with
axe.
an actual axe. Okay. Lay it on me.
And the way she got caught was they went into her search history on her computer, and one of the things she searched for was, quote, killing someone with axe, what body part to go for?
The head. Question answered. Why would you search that? You know Google's going to keep that. Go incognito tab.
Well, and I want to search that now to see whatever it was that she found.
But then you don't,
But then it's like, what if I decide to axe somebody? She was, a woman had to wait for a taxi. When buying an axe, she later used to chop her partner to death. The woman was subject to an apprehended violence order, and her partner told police she stabbed him with a meat cleaver.
I was going to say, where do you go to buy a full-size axe?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. At the hardware store, right?
Well, yeah, but those are usually like the small hatchets. I don't know if I've ever seen like a full-size I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay axe in a hardware store, but I'm sure probably it's there.
She pleaded guilty to murdering his partner while he was lying down looking at his iPad, sitting in a townhouse. According to the facts, he was with another woman when his partner rang and messaged him. He told the woman he was with that it was his ex-partner, describing her as dangerous and violent.
Oh, really?
She hit me with a big machete. She's effing wild, he said.
So she had macheted him before, but that didn't get the job done.
Right, yeah.
Now she went to an axe.
Then sent him 19 text messages suggesting he was having sex with someone, and she tried to call him from about 5:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., and then she said, all right, that's enough. So before the murder, she did more searches, including what is the fastest part of the body to kill someone with the axe. She then called a cab and said, wait inside. I need to go into this hardware store and get an axe. She then sent text saying, you guys might hear something on the news. I might be in prison. I can't deal with it anymore.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And the victim was found to have multiple chop wounds to the head. So you were right.
Yes, I was right. Thank you. Ask Mike instead of ask Jeeves.
Yes. Whenever that comes up again, you don't have to go to Google. Now you know the answer. Go for the head.
So you have a murderous axe story. I have a ghost story.
Please share.
For you here on the Spooktacular. It's one I've shared before. It's a personal encounter with ghosts. The radio station I used to work at before came here used to be an old mortuary. It was built in like the late 1800s, right?
And when you were there, were you on the radio?
Yes.
Okay.
What did I say?
No, I was just curious because we're not on the radio.
No,
right
that's
now.
true.
I just
That's
wasn't
right.
sure if you had a job where you were on the radio. It seems like radio stations don't put people on the radio anymore.
No, this was back before podcasting was the thing to be and do.
Because when something is good, you don't put it on the radio.
No. You know what? To be quite honest, I'm glad I'm not sharing this on the radio because it's too damn good for it.
Yeah.
So
people might hear it.
Yeah, exactly. God forbid this story go around and there be actual word of mouth and not just people on the internet typing back and forth about it. Why would you want that? Why would you want buzz? So long story short, it was an old mortuary, and they still, down in the basement, they still had the hole in the ceiling where the embalming fluid would be, and they had the numbers and the hooks of where the body bags would be, right? So they didn't take the basement was just kind of no one's like, keep out, don't go down there. It was just it was a Blair Witch basement. And so strange things would happen within this building, and at one point, a zany morning zoo crew decided to bring a psychic in to kind of cleanse the area, okay? And so they did a psychic reading, everything, and the particular studio that I was working in at the time had said that it was the kind of children's area. Like when they would have the wake, they had like the little play area for the kids, right? It was like their little nursery is where it's where the kids would be while everyone else would go look at a dead body. And so I was like, okay. And apparently the upstairs was where the organist would play because they would play the funeral dirge live because, they didn't have the phonographs or whatever. So I'm doing the day after that, the next night, I'm in my studio getting ready to turn on the microphone to go on the air. And I look over to the doorway, and peering in is basically a kid who looks like the Dutch boy paint kid.
Ah!
He has like hair, and he's got the little like 1920s hat, and he's just kind of staring in at me, looking at me. And I'm like, what in the fudge is going on? So I'm just focused on what I'm doing and get done. By the time I get done talking in the air, I look back, poof, gone. Nowhere to be found.
No Dutch boy.
And I was like, okay, what in the hell's going on here? About 10 minutes later, the phone in the office upstairs starts making it sound like it's going off the hook. Just brr, 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 brr. Walk up there, no one. I'm like, okay, come back down. 5 minutes later, brr, 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 brr. I go back up there, pick it up, put it down. Another 5 minutes. Brr, brr. I'm like, you know what? This. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back in the studio. I'm going to shut the door. I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to get the hell out of this place because it freaked the hell out of me.
I'm sure. Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah. So I have had run-in with actual ghosts, I believe. Yeah. The Dutch boy paint kid kind of scared me a little bit. And so I made the mistake of then relaying it to my now wife, that story. And so when she came to visit me at the radio station, she refused. She had to take my car to go to my apartment to use the bathroom because she refused to go anywhere in that radio station.
Do you blame her?
No, not at all. Not at all. And then like they had a dumbwaiter that would move in the middle of the night, just go up and down without any.
I would have broken up with you over that one. So,
you're like,
forget it.
Did you ever have any run-in with the supernatural?
There was a time. There's a haunted cemetery, or a cemetery that's notoriously haunted, up Route 54 from where we are sitting right now. That on a lark we went and visited once, and it was known for having these strange orbs of light.
Oh yeah.
And sure enough, we're standing there. It's pitch dark, and up in the trees, there's like these weird flashes of light. And there was no road nearby. There was nothing that would have caused light to have been coming through the trees, other than the legend of this cemetery with supposed weird electronic orbs and things. And and the thing is it's on some websites. And it's not on a map anywhere. You have to turn off a 54 onto one of those weird, those weird named roads that are like H4978 W2, and then from there you just have to turn into a cornfield. There's just a road that comes out of the cornfield, like a little service road that goes back corn into the woods. Crazy cemetery.
Yeesh.
That's just been abandoned.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. So everything about
it is creepy.
I mean, it's corn.
You're waiting for the person who searched, how do I murder someone with an axe to show up?
I mean, the whole thing, it's inherently creepy. I mean, 100 years ago, there was like a church in a little village back there, and it's just all been, people just walked away from it. But here's this cemetery that's kind of sort of fenced off. but crazy old headstones that are just leaning over and falling. I mean, everything about it is freaky and again, it's where logic completely dissolves because it's like, okay, it's just a place and there's things and it's whatever. But I mean, it gets in your head.
It does.
You hear the stories and there's like supposedly, and I never walked back there because I couldn't do it. There was like back in the corner was this little fenced off, this gated area that had some sort of a larger headstone in it. And there were all these stories about, you walk there and suddenly the temperature drops 30 degrees and, all this crazy stuff happens. I couldn't do it. I could see it. It was 50 yards away, but I can't do it. I can't
paralyzed by fear. And then out of the mist, zombie Judy Tenuta appears.
And that's where I met zombie Judy Tenuta.
There we go.
You pigs.
Wrapping a nice bow. Want to put a baby in me? And that wraps up the Halloween Spooktacular. I may have to try to check out that cemetery. You think it's still standing?
I think so, yeah.
Or is it even more overgrown if it's just kind of abandoned?
I'm sure it's horrifying, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to freak yourself out on this Halloween, if you took nothing else away from this particular episode of the Mike and Molson Too Good for Radio Halloween Spooktacular, there's a weird-ass cemetery down on 54 that you can go check out.
It's awful.
It's Halloween, it's Halloween, it's Halloween.